Previously on BYL.
I'm the last of 6 children, and then something happened at the age of 10 that sort of changed the lifestyle of life like I knew it.
We have defined what low self-esteem is, and we have shown you that you are not the first to go through such pressure at school or at home. Now, in this episode, we would explore what can cause people to develop low self-esteem.
Whether you like it or not, whether it's children now or children then or children anywhere, there is a certain way that who you are or who your father is or what you have, quote and unquote, forms a certain sense of identity or esteem in your mind, whether you know it or not. Whether you're 6-year-old, I don't know how it is formed, but somehow it is formed, So when certain things happen, no matter how young the age is, it might then, especially if that's not what you were born into, so it's not what you are used to, it might then begin to change sort of how you see yourself or the perception that you have about yourself and your family. So for me, it just seemed like the worst of the worst that happened to us. And all of a sudden, I remember one time I wanted to do my hair, which was going to cost 200 naira. And I mean, maybe it was many years ago, but even then, 200 naira just seemed like 200 naira. My father said he didn't have, and I couldn't understand it, like 200 naira. I mean, all I want to do is weave my hair all back. It's not like I'm doing color braids or anything of the sort. And whether you know it or not, and then I went to a school where you had the children of the rich in that state. That was like the school that they would send their children to. So there was already a status kind of thing in the school. I mean, there were times when visiting day will come and nobody came to visit me. So I ran out of even things as basic as Gary. I mean, if you run out of conflicts, we understand. Run out of Milo is okay. And when you don't have Gary, you know there's problem. Gary of all things. I mean, I used to soak and travel like it was no man's business. I was soak in the morning, go to school, go to class, and come back. I mean, my life was that intense. So I just used to feel like there was a problem somewhere. Like, no. There's really a problem. And this is, you're in a school where some people are bringing out rich tea. Those days were days of rich tea, digestive. They'll tell you something from London. Me, I've never even reached London. Plain safe. I don't think I've entered at that time in my life. It did something to identity, and it does something to your self-esteem that you don't realize that it is doing many times until when you now grow up and you now begin to need to make decisions by yourself, or you want to get employed in a company, or you get employed in a company and you just feel that the next person that has this nice shoe is better than you, that you just have this, it affects a lot of things. But at that teenage age, even then in secondary school, it was also affecting a lot of things as well that you don't realize. I mean, there were people that used to wear look sandals to school, and there were those that used to wear the sandals. So I remember one particular holiday, I told my daddy, I said, whatever you're going to do, I'm not buying look sandals. Like, wherever we're going to get this money from, please, I have to wear sandal that is not like, and it wasn't a status thing. A part of you just wanted to be like, they don't have 10 heads now, And God bless his soul. He's passed away now. We went to Lagos. He got the money. We went to Lagos market. We bought this sandal that you would have thought I was the princess. Like, I was so proud of those sandals. Every day I wore them in school. I just felt like, hey, I'm not wearing look sandals.
Every individual, whether you are a child, whether you're a teenager, or you're a young adult or a matured adult, the truth is that you all came from a family, which is a primary unit for that individual. So there are some certain things individuals go through, especially teenagers, which we are now really classifying here. And when we talk about teenage, we are talking about the 13s to the 19s. So it's specific, and these are children mainly in their secondary school or what we call high school, depending. And some of them are even actually in the university, because these teenagers go to start colleges now very fast. At 19, some of them are even out of colleges. And what can actually threaten their self-esteem, and what I've even seen in practice, oftentimes they are the beliefs that the parents have inculcated in them, the way their upbringing from the family system, it gets them wired that way, making them feel inadequate, making them feeling they are not enough, making them feel less of who they are. So for example, you are from a family where both parents are always jumping and fighting, and so there's domestic violence in the bigger picture. That child's self-esteem can be threatened because what he or she sees every time is violence around him or her. And they just believe that any little weird sound or they'll just run away. So they practice avoidance rather than standing to confront that. Also, family where one or both parents is very fond of shouting. Let's narrow it down. Nigerians, we shout. Let's not go there. We shout, but we parents, we have to caution ourselves. Because even studies have now shown that shouting on our children affects their mental health. Because with time, the child will tell him or herself, he's not shouting. And so you make that child stubborn. You have to be able to approach things in more logical ways and letting the child see what he or she has done. I give you a typical example. Your child broke a plate in the kitchen, which is very common. All of us have done it. Our parents will break plate. It's their plate. Nobody should question them. But now your child has broken plate, and then you are screaming that plate is what they use during your marriage. That was what they gathered for you. So all that, you make a whole lot of noise, beat the child, spank the child. The child may be bleeding. You are not looking at that, but they are looking at the fact that the plate that you got married with in 1957, the child now has broken it in 2001. That is a minus. So you can let the child know, my dear, that plate, you know you are a very good boy. You do a lot of things for me there, so you are very domesticated. You'll be doing this, you'll be doing this. However, you have broken my most treasured plate. How do we go about it now? The child, no, you've already told the child something good about the child. And then in between you inserted that, however, kind of, this is what you should have done differently. Maybe you should have washed it, in a different place as against where it did, or you could have taken it out, waited later before. So you make that child understand that adversities will come. How that child will face those adversities is very key. You are not helping that child build resilience. Because these things adversely affect the resilience of anybody. Because if it's only shout, 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 when that child is faced with adversities as an adult, there's no resilience, nothing that he or she will fall back on to help in facing those challenges. They are remembering the shouting, the beating, you are not going to eat today kind of punishment that are punitive. So truly, these are ways that we have seen, because for us as mental health practitioners or mental health physicians, the truth is that we have seen children with low self-esteem, having anxiety issues, having depression, and of course, we all know these days what is happening. The drug abuse is becoming a menace in the society. And we have seen as young as 9-year-old taking his or her life. And people outside be wondering, what will a 9-year-old be thinking about? Why will a 9-year-old kill him or herself? The child may just be dealing with some certain things in the house that nobody knows. Only him or her understand that. So we have to help our children build their self-esteem, primarily as their parents, before they go to school, where the teachers also are. And that's why as parents, when your child is in a school where the teachers are not helping him or her build their self-esteem, no matter how beautiful the school is, no matter how good the school is, please intervene immediately. Because if it rubs off on that child, the moment your child leaves you and starts school, they begin to spend more hours in school than with you. So if that rubs off on their self-esteem, you may not get that child back, because you always be on that side doing damage control while the school is robbing him of her self-esteem.
Growing up was kind of hard, let's go there. Because if I should say, changing school one, family problems, my mom and my dad, different things, which I should not say outside. I would say it was hard.
When I started growing, I knew my mom as a very, my mom is so hard, but if you want to talk to her, she just be like, what do you want, what do you want? But with time, I started developing the art of being how will I say it? The art of being very, I don't use to my mom. I don't, if I want anything, I used to go to my dad. I'm not so free with my mom then. So my father was like, the way you are going through all these events, it's going to affect you, because when you need anything or when you started shouting on them, they will just see you as a wicked mom. So my mom was like, if I don't speak to them like that, they will not be afraid of me. So with time, it changed. Within a token of an hour, it stopped the art of beating us. That's the first step. That's the first thing to stop. The way she beat us, the way she used to beat us.
Like I said, I wasn't really exposed to the issues of life growing up. So I didn't have any issues with finances or anything. So to me, life was just, I want this, I get it, that's the end. So it was when I left boarding school, I started having these issues with, seeing how my parents would try to hide it, but it wasn't really covered up. Like, I had to leave boarding school because it was getting too expensive. Actually, it was a very expensive boarding school anyway. But, I started getting worried from then, like, why did I have to leave? I wanted to leave because I was tired of the bullying. But at the same time, I also wanted to stay because it made me feel, being in boarding school made me feel mature, like I could take care of myself. So, times I felt inferior was, I attended this Christian Center, and we joined 2014, and I didn't want to change my church because I really hated change. I liked things being the way they were, and then me being able to go through the same routine I had and not having to change it for little. I always had a plan for my day every day, so I hated having to change it. So it's Sunday, I woke up and was getting ready for church. I just came back from boarding school. I was getting ready for church. When my mom said, we're going to a different church today, and I said, what church? And she said, Pastor Sam's church. So I always loved Pastor Sam, especially because of his hairstyle. I always adored his hairstyle, but I didn't want to attend his church. I felt it was like, no, let's just stay here. So I cried, I struggled, but we still went anyway. So, but immediately I got there, I saw the environment and how swoosh it was, how posh it was, and I started feeling withdrawn again. Like I said, I'm partially introverted, so there are times I prefer to stay on my own. I stopped smiling. I was always like greeting people I saw and things. So I stopped smiling. I just stayed on my own, and I think that was really when I started feeling inferior. When I started seeing things that made me feel like this person has this, why don't I have it? So yeah, and I also go to places at times like cinema, with some other people, and they do things or are able to get things that I can't get, and immediately I feel inferior. But thank God I've been able to keep it in check.
As most of my friends, let me not say they are coming from rich background, but instead, they get money in one or two ways. So I try to influence them in terms of having IQ, but instead they'll be like, okay, knowledge is power. But me now, how much I have, I don't know, it seems to weaken my morale. All those kind of things. That's what it is now.
Like my mom, sometimes she doesn't understand me. Like, she doesn't allow me to talk. Like, if I say something, she will not allow me to finish it. She'll just start attacking me. Like a situation whereby I did something. I came late from school and she was waiting for me. She didn't even allow me to explain myself, like why did I come for school. Meanwhile, I was having exams. I was doing my mock exam, which took time. So she didn't allow me, and that's not the first time. So
I went to Botti primary school. Like in my primary school, like parents come pick their kids like happening cars, and then my mom was driving a Benz E190. Now the car it was a nice car definitely, but then the under was like bad. So if it rains, water is going to enter the car, and we all have to raise our legs up. But the car it just didn't fit. Like there was no AC. Like other guys, like students, when they come to pick them, like these people are wealthy. But for us, it wasn't like, it didn't just, so it was like the car. Sometimes my mom won't even come with car. The car is bad. So I have to jump bus. And then I'm seeing my mates go in car. And then me. Like, we're like one of like part of the 1% that had to enter bus, like walk down, like walk to like the junction. So everybody knows our school uniform. And they're now gonna enter bus to go home. And when we get home, what are we going to eat? Normal too. But then in my school, like my mates will be talking about, oh, they are going to. I didn't even know kids could travel out of Nigeria. I won't even lie. Until like I was in primary 4, and then I heard people arguing about London and America. I even thought London and America were in the same place. Cause are you serious? Disneyland. Wow, what's that? What's that place called? So that, then when I became fat, my father didn't like it. He would always speak down on me because I was fat. But then my mom was like, oh, it doesn't, she liked me being fat. Like, he made us so happy. Like, I could wear her clothes, like we could be sisters. It made us so happy. Like, even though like I told her I wanted to lose weight, she was like, no matter what you do, like, just do it for yourself. Like, she really encouraged me. It's like, she made me realize, oh, you're beautiful. But then my dad, but later I had to like, they accepted me.
The things that trigger a sense of low self-esteem could seem little, but they have deep-rooted consequences, even for a lifetime. Parents have a major role in determining the sense of self-worth of their children. So we need to pay more attention to this. Next on BYL.
At about age 9, I began to notice that I could not use my right hand like everyone else. I was constantly called a lefty. In some cases, I was scolded for using my left hand. My mom told me about the incidents that took place during my birth. How the nurse pulled my right hand as I was being delivered, and as a result, my hand was dislocated.